Last week was Star Wars week, and we have a lot to review from last week, so get ready for that. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is out, and there's so much stuff in the parks about that. Lots of news, all kinds of stuff, and a big discussion about shows tonight on ParksCenter. Hello, friends. Welcome to ParksCenter for May 7th, 2023. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Thank you, as always, for being with us. We appreciate you. We really do. If you have not already, please subscribe to WDWNT TV for more great content. And also give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help people to find us. And we want you to help welcome these great folks who spend their time with us tonight, starting with Allie. How are you?
Fabulous. How are you? All kinds of Star Wars today.
Oh my gosh, I am, yeah, wow, thank you. Bright Suns, I appreciate you. Our good friend Coach.
How's everybody doing? Haven't seen you guys in a while, but excited to be here, be on with these great people. Let's talk.
And Emma, what's going on?
And don't you mean Rising Moons? Because isn't it nighttime? Except for maybe where
it's daytime here.
Can you not see the lights outside her window? Come on. She's operating on Pacific time, so am I. Thank you guys again for being here tonight. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you. We love being here every Sunday night, so thank you. Your support means everything to us. So let's get started with a little parks news. There was some interesting stuff that happened this week, but of course my heart lies with Star Wars, and there was a lot of Star Wars stuff that happened in the parks. Now, there was a lot of treats and different things, but you know, when it comes to special events, Allie, God bless you. I love you so much. You know that my weakness is sippers and popcorn buckets. And girl, you hooked me up. And I think you got some of my friends there with you.
I do. I have Grogu. He came out Tuesday. He is adorable. And his little, it moves, it spins, it's cute.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have
Where's Randall?
And then, of course, we have the droid-parked popcorn bucket. He rolls around. He's super cute, and he lights up. And then, not to be forgotten, Guardians of the Galaxy. This came out Friday, so all the stuff for Rob.
No, I don't have a problem.
Of course, we have Tom stuff here, too, so.
Yeah, but mine's better, though, right?
Yeah.
Where's...
You didn't want this. You chose not to grab this, but...
Yeah, but you got one for Tom?
I did, and it lights up, so...
Oh, well, I'm going to need that. You go ahead and tell him you couldn't find one. That'd be great. Thank you so much.
I don't know where it went. I don't know what happened to it.
Well, he won't be watching this, so we don't have to worry about that. I mean, you know, it's all good. The funny thing about that popcorn bucket, though, I'm not lying. The funny thing about that popcorn bucket is, though, that popcorn bucket, when you showed it to me, and again, Allie, I love you to death for doing this for me, because you know I get FOMO about like missing out on anything in the parks. But
right.
If it's limited edition and I can't get my hands on one, I cry into the pillow every night. So you saved me from that. Thank you so much. But when you sent me a picture of that, I thought you were joking with me. I literally did, because it was open up. It looked like somebody went and took their Droid Depot like thing, took the guts out and filled it with popcorn and went, you know, anything could be a popcorn bucket. And I was like, are you serious about this? And you were like, no, it's a popcorn bucket. And I was like, well, then I need it. And that's how sad it is. That's how sad it is. I thought it was a joke. And then I was like, no, please hook me up. And I've already named him Randall. It's RNDL.
I had to go through that line 4 different times because people kept wanting stuff. I think that guy thought I was nuts, and I felt horrible walking through the park with all of these popcorn buckets. And then, of course, the parade started at 1:30, so we're like, oh, let's watch the parade. So we're sitting there with 6 droids lined up to the parade, and then I put all of them in a locker because I just didn't want to look like that person, because I'm not that person. These are all 4 people, but they are super cute. As I stood there, I caved and I bought one, and I don't regret it at all. It's adorable. Yeah. Super cute.
Well, what I'm trying to do here is fine. So a lot of times, when this is all going down, Allie will mess with me, and her significant other will mess with me with my stuff. And I'm trying to find this one to make sure that I can show it on here. Hold on a second. Wait, where is it? Here it is. So she sent me this picture of my droid with a beer from Ballast Point.
It was a
Just
Star
saying.
Wars beer, so
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Well, that means everything then. So Allie, thank you. Like Allie is our Disneyland correspondent. She is our reporter. She's in the parks all the time. You went to the hard-ticketed Star Wars Night event, which we talked about on ParksCenter last week, and I'm super jealous of that. I've never been to that specific event, but you went to it on May the 4th as well, right? Like there are a
did.
couple
Yep.
different versions of it. Talk a little bit about like how was it this year versus last year? Is it something you'd recommend people like plan in advance to go to?
Yeah, we went last year, and after last year, not that we didn't have a good time last year, but I felt like we spent a lot of time in lines waiting for characters and that we didn't do a lot. Um, so then this year when it rolled around, my friend who's obsessed with Star Wars was like, let's go, let's go, let's go. And I'm like, I was him and Han. I finally caved and bought tickets, and I was like, fine, I'll go. And I am so glad that I did. It was amazing this year. We got in line early at like 8 o'clock to meet the Ewoks right at 9 o'clock. Um, I love Ewoks, so the picture is adorable. Super happy I got to meet them again. I had mobile ordered all the food early, so I would recommend if you want to do any of the specialty food, like mobile order it at 7 a.m. Not even kidding, because it sells out. But everything we had was really, really good. We got to meet, yep, there's me with the Ewok. He's so cute. After that, we got to meet Luke, Leia, and R2D2. That was like a walkthrough thing. So we actually were able to go through that 3 or 4 times super quickly. So we got selfies with them, took video of them. They did this walkthrough fandom thing where everybody walks through with their lightsabers and took a big picture in front of the castle. And they had Mickey and Minnie in their R2D2 and BB-8 costumes. They were super cute. And then over in Tomorrowland, they had all the, I want to say villains, but that's not the word I'm looking for, dark side characters roaming around, and they do their little parade thing with Phasma, is that the right name? Her leading it. What else did we do? Oh, they had a magic key giveaway, so you get a button. That was super cute. And then the best thing we did is early, we got wristbands to go back between midnight and 1 a.m. To get in line to meet Padme, and then Anakin came out at like 12:15. So he hadn't been out the whole night. We saw he was out Tuesday, so we were kind of hoping Thursday. We got in the line. We're like, oh, it's just her. It'll be fine. And then they went to switch her out. So it was like 15 minutes. We're standing there. Everybody had sat down. I'm standing there, and I see him come around the corner, and I was like, ooh, everybody's about to get really excited. And then it was super cool. So he was just kind of roaming around, like talking to the people in the line and standing there just like, being kind of dreamy and the way that he is. So you get to meet her, and then when you're done, you can go kind of interact with him and take your selfie with him. And then they have a DJ. They have project. Yeah, he was pretty. No complaints there.
I'm not gonna lie, he is dreamy. I mean,
Yeah,
I feel confident in myself to be able to say that's a good looking guy.
yeah, he was super sweet. He was really really nice. And then this year they also had projections on the castle, which I thought was really cool. So they were blasting the DJ music. They had projections on the castle and on Small World. So they did a really good job this year. I feel like we maybe only saw half the things, but we left super happy. And I would definitely go again next year.
But that's a lot different from last year, right? Because I heard a lot of pushback from last year that it wasn't as good. I know Kamila was very disappointed. I think by the time that she went to the regular day stuff, but by the time she got to the night stuff, like all the party specific stuff was almost sold out. There wasn't really much there for it. And I know that when I was there last year for Star Wars Celebration, there was one going on that I couldn't get into. But when I came into that Esplanade and saw that crowd that was standing outside of the Disneyland gates, I was like, okay, I'm cool. I'm great. I'm good not to be a part of that. Because hard ticketed parties have gotten to a weird space with Disney now where like sometimes they're great and sometimes you feel like you've absolutely gotten ripped off. So
Yeah, and that's how I'd felt last year when we left, because we got caught in that huge line to get in, because some of the people I were with didn't have magic keys, so we had to wait to go in at 6 o'clock. This year, I felt like that line never happened. We were able to check in at about 3:30, and then we actually went to Ballast Point for a little bit just because it was crazy in the park with all the Star Wars people that weren't doing Star Wars night, so they were doing all their Star Wars stuff, and we were like, we can't. So went to Ballast Point for a little bit, went to DCA, saw the Doctor Strange show, and then that was done at 7:30. We walked over and walked right into the park, and it was not an issue.
Yeah, that's why you
So,
went to Ballast
way
Point.
better this
That's
year.
why. That's why you went. That's why you went.
I know.
I just want to
That's
stop
the
real quick and say that we have ourselves a super chat. I see you, Jungle Cruiser. Rob, I could tell you that this is one great popcorn bucket. Had cast members thinking it was a fully functional droid. At Desi, if you're watching, your droid is on its way, which should be there Friday. So he is hooking Desi up because he was nice enough to reach out about that. So thank you so much, Jungle Cruiser. We appreciate you, man. You are a great supporter of the show, and thank you for that. I always get flack from my wife who says, "Oh, this is the dumbest popcorn bucket I've ever seen because it won't hold any popcorn." AKA Pumbaa, which we'll talk about later. But this is one that looks like, I mean, it's legitimately looks like a popcorn bucket. I mean, if you take that head off, it's almost like, just a popcorn bucket. Like, who knew?
Yeah, you can put the bag in it, and it actually was pretty functional. So, other than
Wait,
the fact that when you set it down, it wheels.
They
give you the popcorn in the bag. No,
you didn't put it in mine, right?
No, never. I would never. I wouldn't do that to you.
Never put popcorn in my popcorn buckets. That's. I mean, it seems like it's an obvious thing, but I felt like I need to say it out loud. It's great. Coach, let me go to you and get your thoughts on either the Star Wars stuff, the Star Wars night, hard ticket events, or my popcorn bucket collection. Go.
Jealous of your popcorn bucket collection.
Obviously.
No, I think the Star Wars stuff is really cool. I kind of feel like, I know we had the Star Wars nights and they do the May the 4th stuff, and obviously that's really, really popular stuff, but couldn't you have some sort of Star Wars events where, even if it's the hard ticketed event and kind of the downtime as a way to kind of boost attendance in a lot of ways? I know, we're going to talk about virtual queue and stuff later on, but it seems like you could go based on the crowds, right? If one of the issues fundamentally with the hard ticket events is that sometimes they're not great, sometimes they are. Well, typically they're not great because they're either oversold or just not committed to, in a resource way. Why not solve some of the problems of low crowds by having a hard ticket event during those times to boost? It just seems round peg, round hole. But it's awesome. Even if people that aren't necessarily Star Wars junkies per se love all the different stuff and the different things that go on, and I really want that Grogu popcorn, that bucket you have.
That one's mine.
Awesome.
That one's mine. Emma, thoughts before we move on?
Definitely jealous of your popcorn bucket collection. I do have some of my own. Well, most of them are up on a shelf that you can't really see. But I agree with Coach on the whole hard ticket event thing. I went to a Mickey's Not So Scary last year in August, which is typically or supposedly supposed to be the calmer time to go to Not So Scary, and it was definitely oversold. Like I had a good time still. Like I got to enjoy a lot of the entertainment, but there were so many people there and the lines were so long, I didn't bother doing any of the meet and greets. Like we only did a couple of the candy, the trick-or-treating walkthroughs because those lines were long too. Yeah, it was for how much you're paying for those events. They should do a better job of maintaining and controlling those crowds.
I think we've said it before that you have a track, right? You have you choose. I'm going to go buy merch. I'm going to go buy the treats and get my Instagram photos. I'm going to go and do the meet and greets, but you can't really do it all. And part of that's cool. Part of that's cool that it's like that there's something to do and you walk away thinking, I didn't check off every box, but I had a good time and I did the things I wanted to do. What were you going to say about that, Emma?
I was going to say about the merch, like go, if you're going to do that and you don't want to take a lot of time doing it, do that first. Because I did that at the beginning of the event, at the beginning of the night, and there was hardly anybody in the Emporium at the time that I went shopping, and it was super easy. But on the way out, that's when everybody was getting their merch. So it is possible. But again, if it's like, I could be wrong. If it's like Halloween night and everywhere is packed, then you might be SOL, But
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Somebody's telling me in the chat that I needed to pump up everybody's mic, but I think some of them are pumped to the max. So I'm going to pull my volume down a little bit here and hopefully work that out. 4 different people in 4 different spaces. It starts causing problems sometimes. So no, it's all good. Let me know if that we made some adjustments. Let me know if that helps, guys, because it is really important to us that we have we have the right balance for you as we go along. So, um, so anyway, let's move on to the next one, which is the Guardians of the Galaxy. So there was all the Star Wars stuff that happened, and then we turn around and there's all this Guardians of the Galaxy stuff. And to me, and Allie, I'm gonna go to you on this again first because you were there and you saw it and you took pictures and all that stuff. But to me, this is the biggest crossover that I've seen them do for a single Marvel movie. Maybe Wakanda Forever. Maybe Wakanda Forever they did more, but I'm not sure. Do you feel like this is the biggest crossover other than that? Maybe.
Yeah, now that you just said Wakanda, because Wakanda, we had that whole area and they had the booth during the holiday festival and we had that Coke can sipper. But yeah, this was a lot. And for me, it was a pretty hard transition to go from like Star Wars till 1 a.m. to then be at DCA at like 9 a.m. being like, wait, Guardians. But yeah, so they had the sipper, there's a couple food items. I think there were 4 or 5 food items. And then I think they're re-releasing that Coke can. Oh, and then they added to the dance off that character whose name I am forgetting, right? Mantis. Yeah, we added Mantis to the dance off. So it's cool that they're doing it, and I love that Avengers Campus continues to add stuff to go with the MCU. So it keeps it fresh in there, which I like.
Now here's my problem, and I got my Avengers Campus shirt on, so I'm rocking that. But here's my problem is that they do these great added value meet and greets that are limited time only, and I never get to see, Devil Dinosaur. I never get to see Moon Knight. I never get to see like all of those come up. So I love
Moon Knight was
that they,
good. Yeah.
I love that they rotate, and there were 2. There was like Moon Knight and Mr. Knight, right? They did both of them.
Yeah, they had both of them. They were both wonderful.
Yeah, and so I'm just like, uh, yeah, I'm just like, hey, it's crazy about as far as the balance goes there. So, I want to be there and get all of those. That would be great. But anyway, so as far as Avengers, goes though with this Guardian stuff, you had Guardians treats, and even on the East Coast where we're not supposed to say the M word in the parks, they had specialty donuts and things like that came out. So I was really excited to see that there was so much crossover. But again, I get this FOMO because it's limited time only. I can't go and get that stuff. So I don't know, Emma, do you fall for this at all, or is it just me?
I mean, sometimes, and I mean, I guess this is more on the Disney World side of things, because I know a lot of the specialty things are better on the West Coast, but a lot of the specialty things that are advertised heavily aren't as good of snacks and things that you can get normally. So, I mean, I think I have FOMO for like the sippers and like those specialty things, but not necessarily the snacks because they're kind of hit or miss for me. But I definitely have FOMO on the special meet and greets that they get in Avengers Campus because, I mean, there's so many of them. It's incredible to me, which is also insane that they still haven't brought back the annual pass program, because I feel like they would get more people coming to see them if they actually had that back in force. But yeah, the snacks not really. I'd rather stick with some of the go-to festival things at Epcot or some other go-to snacks than take a chance on some of the limited time ones, to be honest.
Yeah, and to be honest, they bring back the annual pass program more often, seemingly, for California than they do for Florida. I mean, the Florida one's back, but limited, and California, I think, is sold out all except for the super expensive one, but it's back for a little bit. So, Emma, you can go ahead and buy your very expensive Inspire key and come out as many times as you want to, and that'll be great. This is the picture of Mantis, which, by the way, Mantis here, perfection. I love this. But I go back to the fact that I always call this guy Star-Lord Steve because he is not Star-Lord. Like, they cannot make Star-Lord work for anything.
The
I mean, they're
so bad.
It's so, well, all of it's so bad. Like, You know, I mean, again, I feel like it's not that difficult to do, but when they did the baby Groot meet and greet at Hollywood Studios, they did a little animatronic baby Groot, and the guy that was standing right next to him, I said, that's freaking Star-Lord Steve. That is like the Jim Hanks to Tom Hanks. That is not. That's not, but it's not even close. At least Jim Hanks kind of sounds like Woody. This guy doesn't look anything. He looks like James Corden. Honestly, he doesn't look anything. Just tell me I'm lying. Like this guy, I don't even know. Like what the heck? I mean, he looks more like James Corden than he does Chris Pratt. Here's my argument though.
In Discord, someone do it.
Here's my argument though: is that Star-Lord has what the kids call a helmet, and he could be that character with the helmet with some vocal cues that Chris Pratt throws down for $1 million a word or whatever he wants to charge, and it would be so much better than Star-Lord Steve.
Yeah.
Because I mean, but Mantis, I buy it. It's great. I love it. So I mean, you saw her up close and it was good.
I didn't see that. Arlo actually got that. They didn't come out till Friday afternoon, and by that point, I needed to not be in the park. But I watched the video. Yeah, she looks really good. But agree. Every time I see the Star-Lord, it's like, ugh, yeah. Throw the helmet on him, and I think a lot of people will be happier.
Thank you. That's all I'm asking. Let's move on to the virtual queue survey, because this is something we touched on ParksCenter last week. So if you were with us, you heard me kind of. I don't want to use the word whining about it, but let's go ahead and throw it in and say whining about it. Is that on? They've got virtual queue for Guardians of the Galaxy and for Tron. I hate virtual queue. I hate waking up at 6:55 on my vacation to then hope to God that I get in queue for the one attraction that I'm kind of there to see. And again, I don't like. I was with my brother yesterday explaining to him, because he's like, he doesn't do Disney as much as I do, and I'm explaining to him, and he was probably like, I'm just gonna go to the Poconos. Like, I don't need to any of this hassle of park reservations and Lightning Lane and Genie Plus and blah blah blah. And so when we were talking about with virtual queue last week, I was talking about how the Guardians virtual queue seems to be staying open longer, which means they've got it under control. That was the purpose from day one of virtual queue in Galaxy's Edge, was we can't oversaturate Galaxy's Edge. So we've set up this great virtual queue system. It ended up, they didn't need it. They've moved it to Rise. Then Rise had the virtual queue, and it was kind of, in my opinion, one of these things where, like, okay, you do it until you can, until you can manage the volume. When I go to do Guardians of the Galaxy and I see how empty that entire huge queue is, it drives me crazy to think, why can't we just stand in line for this now? Why can't we just go in and stand in line? And Coach, you're about to go down there on a little bit of a trip with your family. I mean, are you really super excited to get on Tron, and yet are you really excited to get up at 6:55 to get that spot?
I mean, I've been on Tron, so we were there fortunately for the AP preview. But I hear what you're saying, Rob. I think they are asking, like, when the survey, they asked kind of an A or B type deal. Do you want this or do you not? I think there's a little middle ground here. I think to manage the crowds, you could have it where the virtual queue is open until 3 o'clock, or 2 o'clock. And then at 3 o'clock, or even let's say 4 or 5, you have the right to stand in line. I think that's a way to kind of manage it, instead of saying, well, we've got this figured out, we'll just have everybody wait in line for 3 hours. What if you did the virtual queue in the morning, had it go till where you would sell it or fill it until, let's say, 3 o'clock? Give yourself a 2-hour buffer, and the people that park hop at 2 o'clock can then wait in line. If they want to wait in line for 3 or 4 hours, they have the option to. I think it solves the problem that we have. Like, you don't want to get up at 6:55 and do the thing. Well, what if you have it on a day that's not busy? Well, if it's a day that's not busy and you go through the virtual queue, that person in the afternoon is not going to have to wait that long. They have an actual option to wait in line to guarantee to get themselves on the ride. Now, obviously, the ride can break down and deal with that, but I think it's a way to manage it, because then if it's really, really busy, then, okay, well, then you have to park hop over there and go through and figure that out. But I think it's kind of the best of both worlds. Now, again, we all know how Disney tech is and everything else. They probably can't figure that out. But to me, why not use the best of both worlds? Instead of A versus B, why don't we try C? So,
does anybody else want to sing Hannah Montana right now? Just me? Okay, cool. I'm looking at the chat, and Michelle said something interesting. Biggest problem with Tron Virtual Queue is that I want to ride it at night, but I'd have to hope that I get a late time at 1 p.m. and you can't figure out when that would be. That's a great point, is that you're punished for being first in line. If you were getting into that virtual queue early, that means that you have to ride it before you've eaten lunch or anything else. And it looks amazing at night. I didn't get to ride it at night because the day that I did it, I was apparently, as Jake said, too good, and got a boarding group 2, which then just made me angry because they are so tight on Tron. Like, you have to do it within an hour of your boarding group, and I was already up at 6:55 to get my boarding group. I didn't want to not roll over, go back to bed, get some actual sleep, and then go. No, that would be horrible. Let's go ahead and pack up and drudge over there and be there at rope drop because I've got boarding group 2. Yay. So, I don't know. I feel like they should give you some leeway on it. But I honestly think that the reason that they don't is because exactly what Michelle's saying, that everyone probably wants to ride it at night. And if they give you any leeway on it, then you probably would take advantage and ride it at night, and they'd probably get backed up right before they want to close down. That's my guess, is because it is so attractive of an idea to ride it at night. Now, the same thing about, going back to Guardians and what you were talking about on that, I'm going a little bit extra innings on this one here, but going back to what you were talking about, Coach, about the survey, I think the survey's kind of leading, if I'm looking at this right. Because the first question is, I prefer the virtual queue system, that allows me to do blah, blah, blah. Or I prefer the standby that's going to make me wait 2+ hours and be outdoors for, it's like, it's almost leading you to go, isn't virtual queue so much better? If you think about it, really? And again, I was at Tron, and I may have said this last week. So I was at Tron, and we were standing in front of it waiting for our time to go up. And there was a little girl that said, "Mommy, I want to ride that." And I wanted to go, listen, you can't. Unless Mom wants to buy you a $25 lightning lane, or unless she was already up at 6:55 this morning, I'm sorry, you cannot ride that ride. And it just seems like that's so opposite of what we're used to at Disney. I feel like the people at the Disney boardroom say, man, the kids out there, they love virtual queue. It makes it so easy for them that they don't have to wait in line and they could do all this other stuff. But I miss the days, right, of being able to go and make that choice of, if that attraction is the one I'm there to see, I'm gonna queue up for it first, and I'm gonna wait for it all day. Yep. And then that seems to be the thing. So I'm hoping that we sunset the one at Guardians of the Galaxy, that we get to a point where the Tron one is under control and they can do that. And I still go back to the idea, if you have park reservation system that is meant to control the crowd, give everyone who has a park reservation a virtual queue and just be done with it. That seems like the only fair thing to do if you're making us do that. But when it comes to the virtual queue, these are the only 2 that are left, and I honestly don't know what's going to be next. Now, one more thing I want to ask you, Allie, before we go on to the next thing, is Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway opened up in California in January, and it was on virtual queue for 7 seconds. Yeah, and now it's not. So how quickly did that happen? And don't you think it was just because it's got a great queue? And also now it's manageable?
Yeah, it's super manageable. The wait time for that ride is hardly ever more than an hour. When I check, occasionally it's 75 minutes, but I want to say it was maybe 2 weeks that ride was on virtual queue. I think they were just worried about it just getting slammed on that opening day. And it probably would have been, but again, if we were there and we really wanted to go on it, I would stand in line and go on it. I didn't get a virtual queue that morning when it opened, so I paid the $20 for the lightning lane so I could go on it on opening day. But yeah, everything is super manageable. I agree. Guardians is super manageable right now. Just get rid of it.
Yeah. Well, all right. So let's move on from this one and talk about hotels. And I have it listed as lots of updates. And there are lots of updates. We did a lot of updates last week. So here's the thing: is every time I feel like we finish construction on something, they start construction on a new one. And Emma, I don't know if you've looked at this and the boardwalk being under construction now, but I'm split, because I love that they are doing maintenance, but I hate that there's constantly a crane in front of a hotel.
Yeah, I don't know. It's sad to think that I feel like in the past 5 years or so, I don't think any of us have known a Disney World that hasn't had construction going on between Walcott and then just the general maintenance that's happening. Yeah, it's kind of a shame. I mean, I guess this time of year when it's, well, I mean, it's not really less busy because we're still like in the heat of, well, I guess like people going on graduation trips and stuff and like heading into the summer season. So it's not really the ideal time to do maintenance on one of your more booked hotels, I would say, just based on location, with it being within walking distance to Epcot and a longer walk to studios. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's great. Like, Boardwalk has been there for a while. It's good to see that they're doing maintenance on it. But I will say it does kind of get a little annoying because, like, the one time that I did have the chance to stay at Beach Club was when they were doing work on Stormalong Bay. And, especially with DVC, like, you make your reservation sometimes before they even announce when that maintenance is going to happen. And then you get there, and then because of the booking walls that you have to go through, you can't really change it. So it's just, yeah, I don't know. I mean, great that, hey, we love that they're doing maintenance, because half the time I'm like, why isn't there enough maintenance? But if you had already booked your stay and you can't change your plans, it is a little frustrating.
Yeah. Hey, Allie, I just want to keep you engaged. So here, this is for you. And just making sure you still with us. Cool.
Still here. Yep.
Yeah. So when it comes to the one out in California, they've been working on this Disneyland Hotel Villas. I've said multiple times that we need more DVC out in California. We saw some construction updates here of the stuff they're working on. Thank goodness they put this picture out there, huh? This is really telling a story. The only thing this tells me is that maybe there's a curved ceiling, but other than that, I'm not really sure what it's supposed to be telling me. But this stuff looks like it's going to be pretty nice. I know that, and I mentioned this last week on the show, specifically talking about that you feel like that this building, while it kind of matches everything else, is casting a shadow and causing a lot of chilly mornings over by Trader Sam's. Is that right?
Yeah, I just feel like when I used to walk back there, it was always super sunny and nice. And then now when I'm back there, that building just casts a huge shadow on the pool. I feel like a line from Ocean's 11 or whatever that's from. But yeah, it's just super dark and shady back there. And it's not always really warm in California. So, like, swimming when it's not sunny does not seem very appealing, at least to me. But I mean, and we did need more rooms. We did need DVC. So pros and cons. And it looks like they're building a separate pool for them. So at least some people in the sun.
Yeah, no, you're right. And
Yeah,
because
pros and cons.
yeah, I want to finish this segment by getting Coach a little fired up. Coach, I want you to stare at this.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah, a lot of updates.
Go.
Yeah. Don't know why it's taking so long. Had a Reflections Earth kind of thing going there, and then we just sort of stopped for no reason. Kind of weird. But instead, let's just put this beautiful eyesore right next to one of the most popular hotels there is. So
Yeah.
I just
Well, I mean,
I don't get it. I don't get it. The fact that they had to run, it's still, to me, it makes no sense. I get the Reflections thing was kind of a, like, what are you doing? And then now you're building modular homes for Fort Wilderness. What is going on? We need an adult in the room. Sorry.
well, Allie,
We
and
need
you
an adult in the
confirmed
room.
for
That's
me,
what we need.
Allie, you confirmed for me because of your ties to the Polynesian community that this is accurate, right? This is historically
So accurate.
for
You go to
okay.
Hawaii and every building looks just like that. Yep.
Everyone.
It's
Everyone,
exactly
cool.
what you think of
Yeah.
when you think of Hawaii.
I got to tell you, the barges, I gave them all the leeway in the world. I was the most positive person about the barges. I was like, look, the barges at Epcot, they're going to be okay because look at this great water feature that's going to come off it and everything. And I was like, let's just be positive. And I didn't hate Harmonious. I know a lot of people did, but I was just like, let's be positive about it. This one's hard for me to be positive about, partially because, it's right there on the Seven Seas Lagoon. Like, if you want to put this garbage out in Osceola County, put it next to, and I don't mean that in a negative way about Osceola County. I just mean put it out by the All-Star Resorts or by Pop Century, which I love Pop Century, but like put it out that way. Don't put it right here in the most heavily themed, endeared, loved area. Now they could prove me wrong, and I want them to prove me wrong, that when this is done, that it looks like it was made to be there. but I just don't have a good feeling about that based on some other stuff. So that's why I keep coming back to that. And so for those of you at home that are excited about the new Polynesian expansion, I apologize. Let's just hope that it's going to look okay when it's all said and done. Let's move on to name tags, because the interesting thing about Disneyland is for the 100 years they came out with these great name tags. I love them. I love how fun it is that they went onto these name tags and they said, for the 100 years, dear cast member, tell us what character means the most to you. And apparently there was like hundreds, if not thousands, of options for them. And I did ask a cast member, could you choose Orange Bird or Figment? And they said no. But there were a bunch of them. And then, I mean, it's West Coast. That's fine. That makes sense. But there were a bunch of them that I saw and I was like, I don't get it. Like this, like Ego, like Anton Ego was one. Like, I mean, it's so funny which ones people chose. But I love it. I love that it was something to interact with the cast members with. So as we've been sunsetting so many things at the 50th anniversary for Disney World, I was thinking, well, that's what they're going to do. And they made this big announcement that said, hey, we're gonna be, you know, got a big announcement from the engraving department. And I thought, okay, that means that they're finally going to get the 100 years one in Florida. But what they have is this one. I mean, I don't hate it. But it's like, it looks like the regular Walt Disney World one, but like with some sparkle watermarks on them. I don't know. Like I almost prefer go back to the Mickey at the top with the red circle around it, because like, I don't know. It just, Emma, I'm gonna let you hit this one up. What are your thoughts on these? Am I just being too critical?
That's the thing. Like, it feels like, I actually thought the 50th ones were really nice with the iridescent color on it and everything. I thought that was a really nice touch. And like, at least like, hey, maybe they'll do something special again for the 100 Years of Wonder. And this just feels kind of, you know, like, it's fine. It's not, that's the thing. It's not really an upgrade, right? So it doesn't feel like it's anything special or anything brand new. It's kind of lateral. And like, I don't know. I don't like it as much as the 50th ones. Like, at least the 50th, like, it has like a nice shine and a nice color to it. But just, I don't know, these, it's fine, but it's nothing I'm excited about, you know?
I'm glad we're all on the same page, because that was where I came out with it. It's fine. It's fine. But and Allie, I'm going to go to you on this, because I'm disappointed, because I loved that. I love interacting with the cast members out there on all these cool, like, why did you pick that character? Like, why did you pick whatever? I mean, it's neat.
Yeah, like I agree with Emma. The new one, it's fine, but you know what it could have been, and it's super interesting. Like, every cast member you interact with, I always find I'm looking at who they picked for their character. And if they have somebody, you know, really out of left field or super random, you know, yeah, you can ask them about it. And some people, yeah, like, pick people you wouldn't think, and then it's really cool to hear their story about why they chose that character. So I don't know why you couldn't also do that in Florida. Seems easy, but it's Disney.
All right, Coach, you have closing arguments?
Yeah, this is a cheap thing that they could. This is the kind of stuff that drives me crazy. You have options, right? If Disney's all about profit margins and making money and all those types of things, this is a cheap way to create interaction between your cast members and the guests. Like, this is an easy thing. This doesn't cost any money. This creates conversation. Cast members are the magic. We all know that. Well, here's an opportunity to create some dialogue. You may have a younger guest that's there that has a shirt on that matches the cast member. It gives them an opportunity to say, "Hey, oh, that's my favorite too," or whatever. Like, you have so many interactions that can happen on a daily basis that can make a trip where a kid's freaking out, or you know, as a parent. And Rob, you know this. Sometimes your kid's freaking out, and a cast member comes in, swoops in, and saves the day. It can save your entire trip, your entire experience. This is an option for them that costs them nothing. Nothing. It's free. You were going to change the name tags anyway. What is going on? Why are there no adults in the room, Rob? I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah,
this is a free thing. This doesn't even cost any money. I just, like, what are we doing? I mean, just picture them in this boardroom stepping on rakes. Just going, we're going to spend money, but not the right way. And then we're going to go over here and we're going to build this. So
it costs something, but here's the thing is that, like, I think originally it was like, what's your hometown, right? Like, isn't that what usually it says underneath it? And then for the 100 years, they went to this this character thing. I never wanted to go back. Like I want that to be the thing
Yeah.
because I do think that. I mean, the what town are you from is interesting, but I don't know how you specifically pick that. Like where I'm from isn't where I live now. Which one do I put on there? And where's the? I mean, it's supposed to engage in
Right.
the guest in a conversation, and I think the character is universally like that because. Coach, your kid's not going to want to know. Oh my gosh, you're from Fresno? That's awesome. They're going to go. Oh, you like the Lion King? I like you like Simba. I like Simba.
Yep.
Like that's a cool connection that anybody can make on any level. So I'm disappointed in this step. I'm not sure it's exactly the walking on rakes thing, but I feel like it was a good. They could have done it this way. Let's move on to this because I was very excited this week because when I was at the Disney Animal Kingdom 25th anniversary, I hold on to your hats. I bought a popcorn bucket. It was this popcorn bucket right here, the Pumbaa popcorn bucket. And you know what? When they announced it, I was like, "That's exciting!" And I got it, and I was like, "Why is there not a Timon sipper?" And I said that on the show last week, and that like the next day they announced the Timon sipper,
Yeah.
and I got hit up so many times with people like Rob, this is happening. And I was like, yes, it is. I'm excited about it. Now, I don't pretend for a second this had anything to do with me. This is something that had to do with shipping delays. Absolutely nothing. They were like, you know what? We got Pumbaa. The 25th is tomorrow. Let's just put it out there. I don't think they staggered it on purpose. I think it had something else to do with them. Maybe they could have, but it just seems like a weird take to go, hey, it's been a week since the 25th. Now let's release something else. I'm sure this was supposed to be their day of. But it just seems like a no-brainer. I mean, I'm no hero. No, I'm just kidding. I'm no genius, but I was going to say, like, this is one of those things where it's just like, it should have happened. And we don't even need to discuss this. I just needed to make sure everybody knew that I knew that this happened, and I'm very excited, and will also be dropping more money on this. So let's move on to Liberty Hell. Because I found that it was interesting. First of all, right after our show ended last Sunday night, there was magic didn't happen at Disneyland. The Magic Happens float was like just stopped in the middle of the street, and so what happened was then the cast members went into full court coverage. It wasn't man to man; it was really more of a zone defense here around the float, and they said, look. They just were like, hey, yep, there's a float. Isn't it cool? And then all of the, cast members got off and marched off. And I'm glad that I assume they practiced for stuff like this. So I'm glad that happened. I mean, again, like crap happens, magic happens, all these things happen. So that's something that I was like, oh, we'll talk about that. And then this story came up about the Liberty Belle got stalled at Magic Kingdom. So apparently the Liberty Belle was stopped. And they used what looks like the Tom Sawyer Island rafts to evacuate people. I love the idea of being evac'd from an attraction because you get to see behind the scenes, you get to see with the lights on. Now that's assuming it's not your first time. If it's your first time on Rise of the Resistance and you're going to get to see behind the scenes, that's disappointing. But if it's like your 100th time on Splash Mountain and it stops on the way up and then they have to evac you, yeah, I'm down for that. I want to see that. I don't want to be evac'd from this one. Emma, I don't know if this was on the top of your list of attractions you wanted to be evac'd from or not, but no thank you. This looks horrible.
Yeah, it just seems stressful because I mean, with that, there's only so many rafts that they can have running just with the way the traffic flow works in the river. So it's that to me, getting evac'd off of that is more of a pain than what it's worth. Getting evac'd off of Rise is really cool. That happened to me last time I was there. Getting evac'd off of Splash is really cool. Again, because you get to see behind the scenes. But like when there really isn't anything to see backstage on the riverboat, like it's just more of a time waster when you can be doing other things in your day than waiting to get off a boat.
All right, quick survey. If you could be evac'd from one attraction, what would it be, Coach?
Ooh.
Splash.
Okay.
We almost
Allie?
did on our last chance to splash. We actually almost did. We were like, come on, but it didn't happen.
Allie?
I have been evac'd off of Splash, and it was funny.
Oh,
We were
jealous.
walking behind the scenes, and they're like, "Oh, don't look at anything, don't take pictures," and we're like, "Yeah, okay, sure." Um, yeah, not doing anything. Also, Thunder Mountain too. I think Space Mountain maybe just to kind of see inside with everything.
Yeah. For me, it
Yeah.
would probably be dinosaur and or indie because I
Mm.
would love to see all the stuff that happens in there. Emma,
Um, Spaceship Earth.
funny that literally no
Ooh,
one said Haunted
wait,
Mansion.
can I?
L-
Oh,
Literally
Haunted
nobody
Mansion's
said
Really?
really
Haunted
cool
Mansion.
too.
Yeah, no, yeah. Allie's like, wait, can I change it? Spaceship Earth.
Wait, can I
Yeah,
change
I
my
mean,
answer to Spaceship Earth?
if it was Spaceship Earth on the descent, so that I could look behind those black curtains with the lights on them and see if
Yes.
all the other stuff is really
Yeah.
behind them still, that would be fantastic. Um, because we're kind of running low on time, and because munchlings are not something that I'm really good talking about, let's jump into Fantasmic and talk a little bit about that because Fantasmic is still broken, and there was a chance. I mean, there was an opportunity this past week, May 1st and 2nd, where there was no Fantasmic on this continent. No Fantasmic happened because it was closed in Florida for 2 days. They were going through some maintenance, which since they just opened it seems crazy. But they were just going through some maintenance. But let's go live to Allie in California to tell us what's the latest on Fantasmic and the Burned Down Dragon.
Oh, geez. Yeah, we still don't have Fantasmic. They pushed it back now, minimum until the end of May. I actually, weirdly enough, had a Fantasmic dining package for the Sunday after the whole situation happened, so canceled that, obviously. And then I had a park pass for next Saturday to hopefully go, and then I've now since canceled that. I don't I feel like we have a B mode, so I don't know why we can't just figure this out, or maybe they just wanted to get through all of this stuff we're doing right now and then work on that later. At least Tom Sawyer Island is open now, so you can walk around to a point, but it's not looking real good for us.
Okay, well, but
Yeah.
let me stop for a second and say, Brandy's on fire in the chat tonight. We were
Yes,
talking
great.
about. She said something has stopped us now. We're talking about the Liberty Belle. So again, kudos for that one. She said the only correct answer is Mansion, and I swear I didn't see that first. It just occurred to me that Mansion was one that most people talk about. Um, she said Spaceship Earth honorable mention, and then she said Universal Orlando answer E.T.
Ooh.
Well, you know what? When we get Annie on here in a minute, we're gonna have to ask her her opinion on that one. So hang tight with that. Let's talk about uh, Asian American or American Asian Pacific Island Month is happening, and
Asian American Pacific Islander.
say it again.
Asian American Pacific Islander.
Say it in Spanish.
No.
Okay, cool.
No say.
Yeah. So I mean, this is a busy month. I mean, we had Star Wars month already. Star Wars Day already. We've got another holiday coming up. We're talking about in a second, and then this Asian American Pacific Islander month. So there's treats and there's music and there's all that kind of stuff that's happening. And again, Coach, I love it when they do stuff like this. Not only because I feel like I learned something, but also because it feels like it brings an extra dimension to my trip. Something that, and sometimes it's a surprise and delight. Maybe I didn't know they were going to be doing this kind of stuff. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think when you learn stuff, that you're not necessarily exposed to. I mean, isn't that what's the greatest? Why a lot of people love Epcot and different types of things like that. Like, you just have that random stuff that pops up, and you learn about it. You're like, this is really cool, and it's definitely one of those things where it's kind of unexpected, right? Everybody's like, oh, May the 4th, we're thinking about Star Wars, we're thinking about other stuff, and then when this happens, it's just awesome because there's just different things that they're just you're exposed to, and different shows and foods and stuff like that is just great. Again, to me, that's why I love Epcot, because you walk around and you're just like, wow, it's something I would never ever see in my normal life walking around, in New England, and it's like, there it is. And it's like, wow, this is really cool. And then, it just becomes an experience, which is why I think the festival stuff is a lot of times is really cool for people because they experience things they're not used to.
Are you sure that kind of stuff doesn't happen in New England? You may want to take a look around, buddy. It could be happening, and we just don't know it. Have you picked up a New England guide map recently? Because they usually keep them right at the front gate when you get there. No?
Yeah,
Here,
yeah.
yeah, here's some of the treat stuff, and this looks amazing. Like this little bento box and some of this other stuff. Like, oh man, the bow, the Lamplight Lounge bow. I'm addicted to that one, Allie. Like that is something. Why is that not on the menu 247365?
Okay, here's my take on all of this, and you just scrolled through all of it, or some of it. Most of this stuff is available and has been available, so none of it is really new. So the fact that they're trying to play it off like they're bringing these new things, and some of it even it says they're currently available. Like all this stuff from Tangaroa is currently available. The beef bulgogi burrito is available. That the Paradise Garden stuff is new. The Pim Test Kitchen thing, that's a crossover with Guardians. But most of this stuff is available and has been available. Yeah, all of that I've eaten. It's delicious. Um,
So you're saying
so
it's a sham?
appreciate them trying to bring light to some of these items, but them trying to shove it at us saying, look at all of these amazing things we have this month. It's been there and it's like, it's not new.
Well,
So I
and
have
now
mixed
that
feelings on.
yeah, and I'm looking at the stuff that was the stuff for Disneyland. This is stuff for Disney World, and you're right. Like I've had that Moana cupcake.
Yeah.
Like this that's and it does say here it says Captain Cook's and Kona Island currently available, but some of it is new, and so that's exciting, but the fact that they put it all together here makes some sense. So at least like you said, they're making an effort, which is good. The other thing I wanted to say real quick is Mom's Day is coming up next Sunday, and they do some offerings for Mother's Day, which is again is the same kind of a thing. It's nice to think about the thought of being there for Mother's Day with your mom and having some good times and all that stuff. So looks pretty neat. But we've run way over on time right here, so I appreciate everybody hanging on. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about some stuff about Universal with our good friend Annie, who is our Universal expert. So please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And then after that, we're going to have a quick conversation about the best shows at theme parks. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Deep in the Plus. Each week, join host Rob Whiteside as he and a panel of Disney superfans take a different movie or TV show from the Disney Plus catalog. They'll tell you its history, details, and give their review, so you'll know if it's worth your time. Current shows, classic movies, and everything in between. Watch Deep in the Plus live Wednesday nights at 9 Eastern for new episodes, or catch Deep in the Plus anytime on YouTube on WDWNT TV.
This program is brought to you by WIGS, the WDWNT Inner Globe Society. Support WDWNT to get early and exclusive access to content you can't find anywhere else, including exclusive post shows for WDW News Tonight and ParksCenter, access to our prize wall, a monthly Zoom with Tom, access to our Discord community, early access to our events, and much more, starting at just $2 per month. For more information, visit patreon.com/WDWNT or visit WDWNT.com and click the Patreon link. Join WIGS and unlock even more WDWNT.
Welcome back to ParksCenter. Thank you guys again so much for being with us. We appreciate you. Please, if you have not already, give us a thumbs up. It helps people to find us. Heck, tell a friend, call your neighbors, tell them to watch ParksCenter. If you got any kids, make sure that they weigh in as well, because we just definitely want more people to be exposed to the show, because we love doing this show. So thank you guys so much for that. Now, part of ParksCenter is we don't call it Disney ParksCenter. We call it ParksCenter because we also talk a little bit about Universal. And when we echo the like Universal, it's almost like saying Candyman 3 times, because we have to bring Annie on board. Annie, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. I'm just noticing you're already rocking your Poseidon's Fury shirt. That is
I am.
fantastic. That is great. There's a lot of stuff that we're going to be talking about, about Universal, but one of them, let's start by talking about, the Poseidon's Fury in the room. Poseidon's Fury is going away, which is so weird to me because they just reopened it. Like, what are you thinking closing this down? Because I feel like it must be your fault.
Wow. I'm really upset, honestly. Like you said, it just came back from like a really lengthy refurbishment. I know it's not always been the most popular show, but going into summer, it seems like not the wisest decision if you ask me. Islands of Adventure doesn't have a lot of indoor attractions, and Florida, it often rains and storms in the summer. So, Islands is very limited already with indoor attractions. And then to take one away that's basically like, I don't want to say a people eater, but it has a high capacity. And to take that away with the summer coming in doesn't seem like a great idea, but closing it completely is a bad idea. I mean, I'm always open to like new things, but I really like that this has like an original story, and it the building is beautiful, the water tunnel, there's just so much positive that you can say about it. So, not happy.
I feel like it's a lot like the great movie ride over at Disney. Like you could have upgraded this instead of shutting it down. You could have upgraded this. Now, in general, I just redid it after it opened up because I was like I haven't been on it in a minute, and so I think a lot of people are like that. It's like you haven't done it in a little while, and so you go back and do it, and you're like, there's a lot of it that really stands up. That water tunnel you were talking about, and like the energy of the cast, like the team member in there, the energy of that team member who is like telling the story and really kind of playing it up is really done well. So I mean, some of the stuff in that final scene looked like, oh yeah, this was done in 1990. So but they could have fixed it and upgraded some of that stuff. But I think in general, I loved it, and so I love also when Disney usually shuts down an attraction these days. There's not usually final merch. Like there wasn't like we did with Carousel Products a Last Chance to Splash, but at least like Universal recognizes, hey, people actually like this thing, and here's like this T-shirt that you're wearing, this final tour thing. I love that they did that. It's a different energy.
And it was crazy the first day that they had them. They sold out like same day, right away in the morning, and they restocked and even stocked them online, and now I see they're sold out. Someone even messaged me and said they're sold out in the parks, like park wide. So it's nice to see that people at least have some love for it, and for being around for so long. There are a lot of team members that have worked there. There are a lot of guests that have memories there and things like that. So there's a lot of people that want to come and own a piece of it, or like say goodbye, or just feel like, I mean, everybody hates to see things go. And Shrek, same thing. It was very sad when that went. Kid Zone, though, I'm going to say, where was the shirt for Kid Zone, guys? That was a lot of stuff. I mean, just saying.
I just wanted a handful of those the balls from Curious George. Like that's what I want, just so I could just throw them at people, even when I'm not in there with the gun.
I might have one. I don't want to admit that, but it's too late. I might have one.
You might have like accidentally walked out with one in your pocket.
I think it fell in my bag. So
I had the same problem with a pair of the Spider-Man glasses from Disneyland, so I totally get that. You never know it. You never know. It's very accidental. But yeah.
I would have bought it if there was a prop shop. Please, if there was a prop shop, I would have gladly paid for that disgusting foam ball. I can only imagine the germs that I took home. Sorry. I have a good immune system. I've been in a theme park for a long time.
Yes, I get that. All right, let's talk about this. So the Jurassic Park tribute store. Now so here's the thing. You sent me this. This is the teaser. How deep a cut is this for the store? Right? I mean, no. Like this is the teaser so here's the shop, and it's closed up for them to do this, and in the window is this ladle. And so let me ask, Annie walks through the park, sees this ladle, goes, up, time for the Jurassic Park shop. Really?
I mean, it's so funny because I thought I saw something in the window and I kind of like was like, oh, somebody like accidentally left something in the window. And then the next day, like when I got close enough to it and the second I saw it was a ladle, I let out like this scream in the park, like, oh, I was so excited because I was hoping, we would see something for the 30th anniversary of the movie. They had accidentally been putting out merchandise that I keep every time it seems like I tweet it, the merchandise suddenly disappears off the shelf. So I was kind of hoping that was like a hint towards it. And then there was like an announcement made about it coming. And then when I saw the ladle, it just like totally clicked. And obviously, I'm like a huge fan if you can't tell. So didn't really take much for me to put the connection to what that was. But I thought that was a really clever just little detail, and the fact that other people and fans got it instantly, because even like me, when I tweeted it, I was like, oh, I wonder who else is gonna, like, I wonder how many people are gonna see it and just be like, what are you talking about? But the fact that so many people reacted to it, it's really cool.
I love the tribute store. It's so funny to me that I get excited about a new like overlay on a store. Like when Target resets, it's just frustrating because now I can't find anything. But when you go into a store like this and they just do a total rehab and they make each one like a movie set, it's fantastic. Although you were disappointed with the Mardi Gras tribute store, weren't you?
I was I it moved from the old location in New York, so this was the first time we had one in Hollywood. I don't know if I was just like thrown off by the setup, the amount of, just it was a different vibe. There was a lot of light for me personally. Like I thought like the first room had like a lot of light, whereas like the old tribute store, you kind of went through like that first room, like that kind of like, I don't know what you want to call it. It before you got into the actual store, and it was dark, so a lot of it was, lighting and things added into it that can like added to the store. I thought the second room of the Mardi Gras tribute store was like amazing because it was again darker, a lot of lighting and things going on. So I really hate, sorry, this location. So that's what I've got really high hopes for the Jurassic tribute store, even though it's in this location. So I'm going to be very critical. Sorry, I am.
Well,
And
yeah,
especially
yeah.
because they did the Jurassic World tribute store 2 years ago, and that was the best one they've ever done, in my opinion. And so
I,
they got a lot to live up to.
I'm not sure I kind of trust that to be an unbiased opinion, but okay, that's great. Actually, Neko, our good friend Neko in chat says, "Is this based on the kitchen scene from Jurassic Park 1?" Yes, I think that's what we're talking about here.
Yes.
And then she said, "Is it a clever detail or is Annie a clever girl?" Come on,
Oh,
come on, look at that! Like a little throw to that. So thank you,
oh,
Neko, for
thank
that. We
you.
appreciate it. So being a pass holder also means that you get to get your hands on this.
Oh,
This is
yes.
the Universal AP magnet that's coming. You've got your hands on this one already, though. You have this one, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's available now. You can pick it up at the Five and Dime at Universal Studios Florida, which is open to park close, or you can pick it up at the new pass holder lounge over at Islands of Adventure, which I will give you a heads up. It's only 11 to 4. The hours for the pass holder lounge are 11 to 4. So if
Really?
you aren't, yeah, so if you don't get your magnet in that time, go over to USF and get it, over to Universal and get it.
Yeah. Well, all right. So let's talk about that as there's a new pass holder lounge because the pass holder lounge used to sit where the new tribute store is over in Universal Studios Park, right, or in that area. Is it
Yeah, so
okay?
yeah, the tribute store took over the old pass holder lounge.
And so they've moved this one, and we kind of teased this forever on Universal Parks News Today because we knew it was coming over by Betty Boop, and so now this thing is open, and I mean, it is perfectly aligned with Toon Lagoon. I mean, they went to me, and like just my own opinion, they went like they leaned into that hard. Is that what I'm seeing?
Yes, I love the artwork that's in there. They kept a lot of the, toon and cartoon vibe to it. Obviously, that's the area. I like the colors though a lot. Personally, for me, I don't feel like it's overwhelming. Like when I go in there, like it's a lounge. You want to chill. So I feel like it's got enough character to it and a lot of little pass holder details like the Who Ate My Churro and, the 999,999 or whatever from Men in Black. So like a lot of little details for pass holders. I think that's really cute.
I literally was about to ask you. I mean, I'm that dense that I had no idea what the nines were. Like, I was about to ask you,
Oh,
and I could have gotten away with it here, but I'm fessing up. I did not know that that's what that meant. So, I love that you have that level of knowledge of everything that's going on there. Let me change gears a little bit back to something that's dear to my heart, and this is hard for me: popcorn buckets, because this popcorn bucket may be the single. Oh my lord and butter! Look at that fella! Look at the
I,
little fella!
I, I
Ah,
was holding him up when you guys were talking. I was like, "Oh, I didn't know if you could see me somewhere off the
oh,
screen
sorry.
teasing you." But
Yeah, because
yes, and
yeah, just
the
just rubbing it in my face that you have that fella. Oh my God,
right
he's
up on his
so cute.
oh, and his wings move too. It's a little lined up.
What? Oh
So
Lord.
yeah,
Oh my gosh.
not
Well,
much popcorn space though, if you guys were talking about
what
that.
we're never gonna put that in there anyway. So I mean, let's not
I
be
know,
ridiculous about
right?
it. But this may
Yes.
be the best Universal popcorn bucket that I've ever seen, short of maybe one of the ones that they had at Universal at the Super Mario World. Like, some of that stuff looks great, but this one, he is adorable. This one's hard for me to fight, because I have to justify it to myself the same way we do on Deep in the Plus. We're not going to talk about it unless it's on Disney Plus. If it's a popcorn bucket that's from anywhere else, like, I need to hold off, but he's so freaking cute. And
He's
as
so
our good
cute.
friend Jake loves How to Train Your Dragon, because it's a Chris Sanders product, the same as a product of Chris
Oh,
Sanders, the same way as Stitch. So that's
he
why he
looks like
has.
Stitch.
Right, exactly. And so he is all about it and went and got one. And yeah, that is an adorable popcorn bucket. I don't think I can get enough of that one. So let me ask you a little bit about the Hogwarts Castle show, because I know that you had that on your list of things. The Harry Potter Nighttime show is closing for extended refurbishment. What does this mean? Does this mean it's not coming back, or it's coming back as something different, or how long is it gone? Tell me everything.
They haven't announced how long it's gone for. They just said extended refurbishment. I don't know what that means. I think they're just going to like update the show. So that could be the projections, that could be like replacing all that kind of stuff. I'm hoping that we could get drones because the Universal Studios Hollywood show, their dark arts show, has like drones in it. So I'm hoping that maybe that could be something, since we did hear like rumors that a drone show could be coming to Universal Studios Florida. Maybe that's drones for the Hogwarts show, but it is closing, so there's going to be like no nighttime show at Islands, as well as no nighttime show over at Universal Studios Florida, as far as we know.
Hmm. You think that well, you know what? Universal usually does a really good job of keeping things close to their vest, even when they're building Velocicoaster in front of everybody. It's like, what are they building over there? And Universal's like, huh? I don't know what you're talking about. And then they finally like make the announcement, and the thing's almost done. As opposed to like Disney's like, hey, we're gonna make this Main Street Theater, and then 4 years later they're like, what Main Street Theater? We don't know what you're talking about. So it's great to me like Universal does that. So I can't imagine they could turn on a dime and open up some nighttime shows, but maybe that would be kind of cool. Because that's the one thing I have with Universal, is it's never open late enough for me. I want to spend more time there. Like, all the parks close at 9 usually. I know sometimes Islands will stay open till 10 sometimes, but like, I need there to be later. If you can you talk to somebody about that, or?
I think that's Halloween Horror Nights. I think that's what you're talking about.
And we'll talk about that in a second, because there's one thing I want to talk about before that, and that's this.
Oh yeah. Minion Cafe. It's really coming along. It looks like that's a sign, honestly, under there. I was standing there and the wind was blowing a little bit, and it kind of looks like the word cafe. So
So were you trying
I'm
to will that sign, like that banner, to
I
fall off?
I might have, I stare hard enough, it might. See, there you go. See, get lucky sometimes.
Yeah,
But
that's
it
that's
does look
awesome.
like it's coming along really quickly, and like I've heard rumors that they're really try to get it towards the end of this month.
Oh wow.
So I
Okay.
mean, it doesn't look it doesn't look like end of this month ready, but I believe Universal can do it. If they
Well,
want
and this
to,
is
they do
this has got
things.
to hurt your heart a little bit because I know that you are a huge fan of. Hold on a second. Let me make sure. I know you're a huge fan of the
Mo-
Monsters Cafe.
Monsters Cafe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know if I will ever give a fair review of Minion Cafe. I'm sorry. I gonna give you guys a heads up. No, I really did love Monsters Cafe. And just to kind of go back with how you were saying Universal doesn't announce things until they're like really ready. I was thinking about how many people were talking about they thought maybe there'd be like a preview center or something like that. And I thought we really haven't even gotten anything besides like a Super Nintendo World announcement for Epic Universe. Like we don't
Yeah.
even have officially the other lands announced. Like we might know what they are or think we all know we know that they are, but
Yeah.
that they
We have
haven't even said
speculation.
that.
Yeah, we have
We could, I
speculation.
mean, you can see the coasters when you drive down the street. You can see the coasters, but you know,
All right, so let's round this out with talking about what people love the most about Universal, which is Halloween Horror Nights. Speaking of speculation, I'm fairly new in the world of Halloween Horror Nights, and we've talked about this a lot. Is that like I'm addicted now? I get it. I love it. Starting in 2019, I became a fan, and I'm not looking back. I was a not so scary Halloween party guy, and now every year I'm like, I need to be there and be a part of this. So the speculation map for me is one of those things I'm like, for you, this is old hat. You're like, it's about time for us to get the speculation map. For me, I'm like, how did they come up with this stuff? Who is it that's leaking this information every year to come up with these speculation maps?
that's a great question. I wish I knew because
But they're
I'd try to be their friend.
but they're so
um,
good. They're so good, these maps. It's like, and they
honestly,
always pretty much come true, right?
I feel like sometimes they might like intentionally throw in like a fake there just so that it doesn't look too suspicious or whatever sometimes. But I think a lot of them are pretty accurate. I know that they start planning these things so far in advance and start building these sets and props and all this stuff so far in advance that I am not surprised that somebody along the lines of time has like seen a thing here or there and then they just kind of, I don't want to say do what I do, but just maybe they see something, they're like, oh, well, that would be a this or a that. This could be this IP or that. And they kind of just guess themselves. Like, that's what
Yeah.
I would assume. But they seem so on on
Yeah.
track sometimes.
So I'm looking at this. We knew Chucky was coming. Like we knew that
Oh, yeah,
before
that one.
Halloween Horror Nights 31 was done. We knew Chucky was coming. The Exorcist looks like it's both East Coast and West Coast, and there are different maps for both. The Last of Us, which duh, although it says Naughty Dog, The Last of Us, which makes me think it's going to be geared more toward the game than the show.
You know, I'm curious because I thought that, maybe Five Nights at Freddy's would have been a thing, which I'm kind of thinking they might like aim for that for next year. But, going on that whole like, well, video games. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were like kind of branching away from certain things. I mean, we obviously saw like the weekend last year, which people on the speculation map were like, never, that's couldn't be. And then it was. So I wouldn't be surprised if like The Last of Us was more video game geared, like just kind of like branching out into other media, other popular forms of media.
Speaking of which, Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer the anime,
Oh,
like Demon Slayer what? Like I'm like my kids are incredibly excited about the Demon Slayer one and I am too. There was like they were like road trip, we're going Demon Slayer. So if Demon Slayer is happening, that's going to be interesting to see how they pull that off since it's not a live action, it's an anime. Like are they going to like how are they going to do that? Are they going to try something different? Like I would love it if it was some sort of new media projection mapping something where they actually use the anime. But if they bring them as live action characters, that's also something that they could do too. Brandy was saying in chat, she said that they go through many iterations of the spec map throughout the season, and the closer they get, the more accurate it is. So, yeah, I mean, but if Demon Slayer is on there, that's kind of amazing. So we'll continue to track this, I'm sure.
yeah, obviously. Obviously, we're always listening and watching and reporting.
Yeah, so don't forget to go to Universal Parks News today for all of your Universal updates. Annie, you do an amazing job of keeping track of all the stuff that happens there and letting us know about it. So we appreciate you. Thank you for doing that. We're going to go and have one more quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk with you, and we're going to talk with the rest of the panel about the best show in a theme park, and we'll kind of clarify for everybody what that is. But before we go, one thing I promised that I would ask you is if you could, and I know you heard it, you got it, and I'm sure you have your answer. If you could be evac'd from one Universal attraction, what would that be so that you could see everything behind the scenes?
That's a really tough question because my first answer would have been Forbidden Journey, but I've ridden it with the lights on, so I have seen a lot of it, which is why I would want to like be walked out of it because I've seen like the domes and how the carousel things work and all that stuff. But Jurassic Park River Adventure because I'd want to get close to the
You want
dinosaurs.
to touch the dinosaur a little bit?
You know,
Yeah. Well, that would be very cool. Awesome. Thank
one
you.
might
All right.
fall into my purse, like the Kid Zone ball.
Why is your bag so heavy? Is this an egg? What did you do? Yeah, no, I totally get that. Awesome. Well, cool. Thank you so much, Annie. I appreciate any Universal update. Come back anytime. Talk to us more about Universal, especially the closer we get to HHN. It's going to be magical. But everybody else, stay with us. We'll be right back after a quick commercial, and we're going to be talking with Annie and the whole crew. This is Disney Entertainment News Today. I'm Rob Whiteside, and here now are the top Disney entertainment stories.
For the latest in Disney Entertainment News, watch Disney Entertainment News Today, hosted by Rob Whiteside. From movies and series news to stage shows, books, video games, and more. New episodes drop every Tuesday on WWNT.tv.
It's time to adjust that set and turn that dial to WDWNT TV, our new channel where some of your favorite programming from the WDW News Today YouTube channel is heading. If you want to continue to see Boxed In on Fridays, ParksCenter on Sundays, and as well our Thursday night comedy variety show WDW News Tonight, you'll have to catch them at their new home, WDWNT TV. It's easy to subscribe. Just put in the URL, WDWNT.tv, hit subscribe, and make sure you get those notifications. Again, is the only way you'll be able to continue to see these great shows as they are moving away from the WDW News Today channel permanently. We hope to see you over there at our new home, WDWNT TV. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming.
And welcome back to ParksCenter. Again, thank you, everyone, for being with us. We appreciate you. We definitely would love for you to give us a thumbs up as it helps people to find us, and we appreciate you always spending your Sunday nights with us, as you've seen from the programming announcements. We've got lots of great content on WDWNT TV, including we've got Disney Entertainment News that drops on Tuesdays. We've got Deep in the Plus that happens on Wednesdays. And then Thursday now we've been doing WDWAF. You can catch that. Fridays, Boxed In. And then back here for ParksCenter on Sunday. We'd love for you to be here for all of it. So thank you so much. Please give us a thumbs up. Please come back for all the great programming we've got. Now, so let me set this up a little bit for you guys, because what I wanted to talk about here, and it's based on what we just talked about with Annie about the Poseidens Fury going away, is that, Disney and Universal, there are things that they call attractions. And some of them are rides and some of them are shows. And, we talk about like nighttime shows a lot, and we talk about parades. But what I want to get from our panel here, and I've given them the homework assignment here, was to tell me the best stuff from not only, look at that. How about that? That's magic.
Fancy.
Yeah. Spared no expense, as Annie would say.
Oh.
Magic.
So what I would say is that, there is a lot of stuff that I think is very cool in the parks that would probably get overlooked. So the assignment to everyone here was to come up with two things. One is what you think the best theme park show is. And this, again, this could be a show that that is just like a stage show, a movie, an experience like Poseidon's Adventure that is, Poseidon's Fury, that is not a ride. And then tell me one that you miss, one that you think was just absolutely great that we haven't seen in a while that we might remember. And I'm going to start with Coach. You're up in the top corner. I'm going to start with you and see what your opinion is on that one. What do you think is the best one currently happening in any theme park that you've seen or you've heard about?
Controversially, I would say Beauty and the Beast, Hollywood Studios. I like shows that, and I know Emma will support me on this. I like shows that have a lot of cast members in them and a lot of performers, because I think they really shine in a lot of ways. I think it's a great show that my daughter's a huge Beauty and the Beast fan, so to me it's an easy one to see her eyes light up. And her favorite Disney princess is Belle, so it's something that I think, especially in Hollywood Studios, is always kind of a relief to be able to just kind of sit down. There's not necessarily a lot to do in Hollywood Studios. Usually there's not a very long wait for it. You can generally just get in and have a decent seat. And I think it's a really well done show. I think the performers are really talented. The cast members are really talented. They put their all into it. And I just enjoy a show that has a lot of cast members and performers. To me, that's a good thing, right? I think that's what separates Disney. That's what makes it not Six Flags and different. And I know some people say, well, it's kind of a cheesy show and the whole thing, but I've honestly I've never felt that way. I've always thought it was a great show. And I think you just see so many of the younger guests just light up, and it's tough to be in a bad mood when you go to that and you look at it and you go, I mean, how could you have a bad day after watching them perform? And it's always been good. I've never gone to one of those and been like, man, that was terrible. Like, the cast members put their heart and soul into it. And I think that's good. I think that demonstrates what entertainment can really do and the difference it can make. So maybe a controversial, I guess, but it's something I've always liked ever since.
No, man, that's awesome. And you know what? And like Annie was talking about with Poseidon Fury, people eater, right? Like, a lot of people, are going to go, and that's going to take some, it's a place to kind of like, relax, but also it's a place that, like, now we've got a lot of people in the show. Don't be there when it dumps out. That's a bad thing. You don't want to be there when that show dumps out. But on Sunset Boulevard. But the rest of the time, it's great to be able to, for people to go, and it's different, right? You can't just do ride, and you want to have a whole experience. That's what Disney does. That's what Universal does. Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I think that's great that you're confident enough in your masculinity to put yourself out there and say, Beauty and the Beast is my thing. And later we'll talk about who your favorite princess is, but not right now. No spoilers. Let's not do that. Let me go to Annie on this one next and say, Annie, right now, currently, what do you think is the best of these, again, shows? I'm just going to call them generically.
Does the Born Stuntacular count?
Oh my God. Yes, it does. Oh, that is a great poll. Yes.
It's the one. I'm not a show person, so whenever I talk to people and they are looking at like the Born Stuntacular, I'm like, you gotta do it. It's a great show. Like, I've done it probably 20 times because I drag people there all the time, and I'm one of those people that you really can't get me to want to go to a show. So the fact that one I enjoy over and over, and I just feel like it's so immersive, and the cast puts so much into it, that's my pick, I think.
No, I mean, you had me at Born Stuntacular. So here's the thing about Born is I got to see it right, and it came out right after COVID, right, which was like horrible timing, but it came out right after COVID because Universal opened immediately, and they had it. And the funny thing is that they try to make it seamless with that background, that video background that looks so good. And yet the funny part was that because it was COVID, the actors had to all wear masks, and you could see the ones that had masks, those are the live bodies, and the ones without the masks that are fighting and would be like, I almost had like some COVID anxiety because it was like, oh my gosh, they're not wearing masks. What are we going to do? Oh, that's not real. And you know what? I liked the Terminator. I liked that one. I thought that was kind of neat, and it takes up the same building as that one. But it is. I love a stunt show. It is literally, I would say, the best stunt show out there because it uses so many neat tricks, and it's just, I don't know. I'm fawning over it. And please, in the chat, y'all keep telling us, because I'm watching you. Y'all keep telling us what your favorites are, and we're going to go over them in a bit. But I don't want to ruin it for any of the folks on panel, so I'm going to go back up to Allie and ask you, because again, I know you split time on both coasts and different theme parks. You're what we call a theme park professional. And so I would say, what do you think is your take of what is the currently best show that's out there?
My current favorite show is going to be the Festival of the Lion King at Animal Kingdom. Love, love, love that show. We will go every time. There's not a bad seat in the house. I'm glad they brought it back to what it fully was, because it was a little weird right after COVID. I don't know why we couldn't have people doing gymnastics stuff, even though we had everything else, but beside the point. Love the show, love the music, love the floats. The performers are always amazing. Ton of cast members. The guy twirling the fire, just all of it is fantastic. That's for sure my favorite show.
Awesome. And just for the record, as we were starting this, but pre-show, Allie was like, no, just to make sure, we're not talking about Fantasmic, right? Because I think yes. Fantasmic is Bay for you. So you were like very clear. You're like, no, wait a minute. We're not talking about that one, right? So yeah, nighttime spectaculars were omitted. Parades were omitted. Projections and that kind of stuff. We were talking about like an actual like, show experience. So no, and the funny thing about that one is like it's evolved over time, right? The Lion King was part of Camp Mini Mickey. It was added there when Camp Mini Mickey was I'm gonna go ahead and say trash garbage. It was just like meet and greet characters. Although you and I have that connection to the Pocahontas and her Forest Friends show that we won't talk about right now. We'll maybe talk about post show. But that show was added, and it was an open air theater, and they were using floats that existed already, and it was an easy way for them to do that. And then people loved it so much that when they started making Pandora, they built it its own indoor. I mean, they had already enclosed it, but they made a brand new theater for it. Over in there, and it was kind of awesome. So yeah, that is a really good poll. All right, I'm gonna say, Emma, you gotta bring it home for us. What is and Emma's obviously the thespian on the panel, so she's gonna have the perfect answer. Go.
Well, those were my top three. So I feel like I should bring up another good show that hasn't been mentioned yet. But I'm going to add the Frozen sing-along to this list.
Yes, please.
I
Yes,
think
please.
that show is so charming and so funny. I think the actors that they put in that show, the two narrators, I think they're hilarious. I think they're all great at improvising with the audience and with each other. And I mean, it's a really fun time. Like, it seems like it would be something really cheesy, like more geared towards kids, but it really is. There's something for everybody in that show, and I think it's really, really fun. But the other three are my top three, so that's more of an honorable mention if I had to put.
Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So let me go through the chat a little bit and some of them that people have been dropping in here because I kind of love this. Brandy said, I'm going to go with Waterworld at Universal Hollywood. Mickey and the Magical Map. And let me see what else we've got here. Lion King was mentioned. Beetlejuice was mentioned. Because our next round. No, calm down, Annie. Calm down. Our next.
I'm glad I was muted.
I know.
Glad I was muted.
All right, I know. I could see your face just like boom. We're gonna talk about like what from the past, what's out there. So I'm going back through here, and Neko mentioned does Black Widow and Black Panther fighting goons in the Avengers building count? I do. I think that counts. I think that the stuff that happens at Avengers Campus does count as a show because it's another thing that you can see. It's not a meet and greet, and it's not really an attraction. But I mean, I would give that. I think that counts. So anyway, I just and now we're starting. And Hoop to Do Review was mentioned in here, so I think that's interesting too. But let's go back around now, and we're gonna start again the same order. So be prepared. Be prepared to show your work, because we're going to talk about things that don't exist anymore. And already, Nico has jumped in with Captain EO, which strong pull. But go around and Coach, tell me the one show that you had seen I'm sure it was something when you were baby coach and you were in the parks and you were like, this is the
I
best and I can't wait to show my kids, and now it's gone? Or is it something else?
I don't know if this technically counts, but Streetmosphere, um, that was such a like I didn't know what was going on. So it was my first time being in Hollywood studios, and I was like, "What is going on right now?" I didn't know. I was like mesmerized by how talented and hilarious everything was. I didn't even know what was going on. I walked in there and with my wife, and she just looked at me and she's just like, "Just watch." And I was like, "What is going on right now?" And it was the most one of the most it set the bar so high. Um, Obviously didn't know the characters that well, and was able to appreciate it maybe more the second time I saw it. But it was awesome. It was just watching the actors and the performers just absolutely crush it, and being a character, how mesmerized everybody was. It set the bar so high. It was so different from anything I'd ever experienced ever at any other park that it was just like, wow. Because I was always a Universal guy, right? Before I was a Disney guy, I was a Universal guy. My cousin worked there. He was a VIP tour guide. I wasn't the expert that Annie is, of course, who is, but I was able to ride everything, not wait on anything new. Like it was unfair, the experience I had at Universal. And then when my wife took me, that was one of the first things that I experienced. And I was like, wow, so this is why it's different and way better. Gotcha. Noted. So that's always had a special place in my heart. I think it was just a great show, and I'm still confused as to why it's not back yet. But
This is along the same lines, and this is not me giving. This is me telling you something that my very good friend mentioned to me. Like, oh, I would love to have taken you to the Adventurers Club. Adventurers Club was kind of like a round the clock show. I mean, that was really that experience of you turn around and there's a show, and you turn around the other way and there's another show. And it feels a little bit like the Streetmosphere. And I think some of the same actors did Streetmosphere that did the Adventurers Club. So, I mean, again, I do think I see value to that because, again, it was a people eater, made people stop, look, experience. It's something, a memory you took with you. Yeah, so that's really kind of cool. So, all right, Annie, why is it I want to say, Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? How many times have you had that said to you in your life? 950,000? Probably. I apologize. I don't mean to be another guy doing that. But let's go back to you and say, what is one that used to exist that doesn't anymore?
Oh, you know what? This is a really tough thing for me because I feel like I just get on this train of thought of all these things. And like, first of all, let me just say I'm really old. So I loved all the old like entertainment things that used to be at Epcot. Like, no, like that they had like performances like in Italy, and then they had like some like acrobats and stuff. So I really miss like all that entertainment stuff that Epcot used to have. But some honorable mentions I'll throw out here was the old line at Magic Kingdom, the little puppety one. Am I making this up? Or Phil Hart, right? This
That's a
up.
nice. No, no, no. Your audio broke for a second, I think, and so
Oh,
people
okay.
didn't hear what you said. But I think what you were talking about was the Legend of the Lion King puppet show at Magic
Yes.
Kingdom in Fantasyland Theater, right?
Yes. Yeah, I
That's
feel
good.
like
That's
nobody
strong.
talks about that, and that's one that sticks out. The Hunchback of Notre Dame show that used to be at MGM. The Tarzan show probably was going to be my like top choice here. And then when I got to thinking about the Tarzan show that used to be at Animal Kingdom, I thought about Lanuba at Cirque du Soleil, which that's another show. Does that count? I mean, my list is just keep going. Sorry, so I'm just gonna. When the show started, Tarzan was gonna be my vote, but Disney has gotten rid of so many entertainment, and I feel like I had a real easy time coming up with my favorite Universal entertainment. But with Disney, I was like, what even exists anymore? Like, what's even there? And unfortunately, I've never seen Festival of the Lion King. I've never seen the Frozen show, and I was dragged to Beauty and the Beast one time, and so I have a vague memory of it. I don't do
I get,
shows.
I got to tell you
dragged.
that
Wow.
my daughter loved the Beauty and the Beast show, and it used to be that was like the Theater of the Stars was right there and Sunset wasn't built yet, and when that happened is when they put in that show, and she loved that show and she continued to go see that show. My problem with it was I had seen the Broadway show first, And so when you see the Broadway show first, and then you see like the Mrs. Potts in costume on stage, it's like, oh, this isn't quite that. But for a theme park show, it is phenomenal. The transformation, so good. The way they pulled that off on that, because again, it's a theme park show.
I
and
remember
it's
that.
So yeah, it's so well done. So yeah, no, I agree with you. I think there's a lot of stuff that was taken away that used to be fantastic. And that's why I kind of were talking about that. Somebody in the chat said about Honey, I Shrunk the Audience, that show from the Magic Eye Theater that took the place of Captain EO when Michael Jackson became problematic. And then when Michael Jackson passed away, they were like, no, Rick Moranis, you out. We're bringing Michael Jackson back. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you look back on, and in the theater stuff, like you were talking about Legend of the Lion King, that Fantasyland theater had the Mickey Mouse Revue. That is mine.
Yes.
The Mickey Mouse Revue, because y'all didn't see that because y'all are not 100, but I saw the Mickey Mouse Revue as a little kid, and then it went to Japan afterwards, and it was so amazing to me because it was animatronics in the theater. If you think about the penguins in Muppet Vision, which nobody said Muppet Vision, just saying that. But the penguins in Muppet Vision, but like on steroids, because there were animatronics everywhere. They were up in the balconies and everything. It was really, really cool. That was there. They took that out. The Magic Journeys, which was a 3D movie that used to exist, where then it was Captain EO came in to the Magic Eye Theater. Magic Journeys went over to that theater and the Fantasyland Theater. So there's a 3D movie there. When they brought in that Lion King thing with that Rafiki pre-show, and then they would take you in and you would see the puppets. That was awesome. And so that's where PhilharMagic lives these days, which again, no one said PhilharMagic. So let me go up and now go back to Allie on this one and get your like thing that you missed the most. And I can't wait for this because I hope it is epic.
Okay, hear me out. I'm a little bit with Annie, like all of the late 80s, early 90s stuff from Epcot. Like I was pretty young, so I don't really remember it. I just remember the vibes of all of that. And the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, I do vaguely remember that. I did not know the Bourne Stuntacular show had closed, so that's going to be an honorable mention for me because I did actually really enjoy that show. But I'm going to go with Kite Tales, and here's why. Hear me out. It was such a beautiful disaster. Like you never knew what you're going to get. You could roll in right before the show started and you knew it was just going to, you didn't know. Like you knew you didn't know. And the kites crashing, it was just so bad that it was good. And I don't know, unpopular opinion, but I'm going to go with that.
Well, if it helps, Bourne Spectacular's not gone. That was her pick for currently.
It's not?
No.
I thought you said it was gone.
Oh. No, that was her pick for currently.
I misread
no, the stuff she was talking about that was gone was like Legend of the Lion King and stuff like that. But no, let's you and me, we'll meet down and with Annie and we'll go and we'll see it and just make you feel better about the Bourne Stuntacular. Okay. Yeah, the Terminator one is what was there, the Terminator 2 3D show, which is gone, which is fine because we've all been afraid of Skynet for so long. I'm glad they finally ripped it out in the first place. So anyway, no, that's good. So now we need to go and again back to our resident thespian and figure out from her what is the thing. Now she's gonna. Do not say they all took your answers. Do not say that.
No, they did not. My one show that I miss is Muppets Great Moments in History. That was in Liberty Square at Magic Kingdom.
That you might win this then.
I thought that was a really fun surprise and delight, as Tom would say. But just a really fun show, something that brings something more exciting and lots of energy to Liberty Square. It's and just so charming and so fun. I mean, you can't really go wrong with the Muppets having a good time. And I just, it's sad because it was such a simple thing that you think wouldn't cost much to run. And it's just really sad that they didn't bring it back, that it didn't survive the pandemic.
They brought back that Christmas version, which was the Muppets not talking. So I don't know why they saved a ton of money with that, but apparently that was a thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let me head back to the chat with this. So we've got Dawn said I loved Magic Journeys. Here's a funny story from me about Magic Journeys. It was a 3D movie. I can't see 3D. I look at it and it's 2D. There's something wrong with my brain. I can't see 3D. And every kid around me when I was a little kid was reaching out to grab that brass ring, and just like this. And I'm like, these kids are cray. Like, what is going on? Like, what do they see? Like, I can't see that. So it's not like it's, I don't know. Anyway, that was a dumb story. Abracadabra magic tricks. March of the Stormtroopers, because Allie, you talked about that coming back for Star Wars Nights, but that was the thing at Hollywood Studios that was so cool, that the March of the First Order, I think is what it was called. Yeah. David Lung said Meet the Muppets, which was that little show that happened. I think Shannon actually brought this up last week for some random reason I can't remember, which was like full size Muppet people walking around on the back lot at Disney at Hollywood Studios. So that was kind of cool. I'm going back through. Let's see.
I have a Universal. I have one that I thought of for Universal. The Barney Show. The Barney Show. That show was so good.
Oh my God.
I have a funny story for the post show about that show and myself when I was a kid and my first time seeing that.
Dawn said Hunchback. I forgot about that one. There was a Hunchback show at Hollywood Studios that had its own building, that was really cool, with like the Hunchback up in the rafters. That was neat. But when we're talking about Hollywood Studios, nobody said anything about the backlot tour. The backlot tour. I mean, I guess it could have been considered a ride, but there was a walking tour as well. So both of those I think were pretty good. Here is the one show that I missed, and I bet you guys will not remember this at all. At Hollywood Studios, formerly Disney MGM Studios, in what is the Animation Courtyard, which is now literally the saddest land in any theme park anywhere right now, because Little Mermaid is closed, and nobody mentioned that one, by the way. Little Mermaid is closed. Yeah. Disney Junior has become a dance party, whereas the old Disney Junior with the puppets was fantastic.
Yes.
There are 2 or 3 stores in that little area that have not opened since COVID. There are bathrooms back there, so if you need to find a slightly secluded bathroom, treat yourself to the Disney to the Animation Courtyard bathrooms. But and Star Wars Launch Bay had the drawing class, which back when it was the animation, had the drawing class, which I think was great. But there was a movie that you would watch when you first walked in, and it was when it was the animation studio tour, and it was Robin Williams
with Walter Cronkite.
Walter Cronkite.
Yep.
It is to me still as quotable as Muppet Vision. It was so good because Walter Cronkite's talking and he's like, "Excuse me, sir," and Robin Williams turns around, he's got a goofy hat on, and it was, he's like eating like he's like, popcorn and all this stuff, and he's like, "Sir, would you like to become an animated figure?" He's like, "Oh, I would love to, blah blah blah," and he's like, they're like, they turn him into a Lost Boy, and Walter Cronkite is narrating, and he goes, "You experience a sense of foreboding," and he goes, "Verwhatting?" And like that was cute. And then he's like, this is fine. A pirate's life is a wonderful life, a roving over the sea. Da-da-da. I mean, it was like so. It hits me. It was so good. And it was like I would go watch that movie and then basically peace out of the animation building just so I could see it when I worked there, because it was so good. So when that became Launch Bay, and actually before it became Launch Bay, they changed that room to be like an animation room where the animator would interact with Mushu. I don't know if you remember that. So that was that theater. So anyway, somebody said Aladdin at the Hyperion, Allie.
Never saw it. Sorry, I'm not a show person.
It's
I will see Rogers the Musical though. I'm excited for that.
Heck yeah, you will. We'll reconvene and say that is now everybody's favorite is Rogers the Musical, because that's going to be awesome. But I mean, the Frozen show there was good, but it was really long, and I think that to take an hour out of your day at a theme park is a big ask. But it was a good solid show. I think the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, play it. That was a neat experience. And again, that was back when Hollywood Studios was a little bit more so the shows. I never got to see Dick Tracy Crime Stoppers. That might have been fun. I don't know. That might have been neat. But again, I think the one that I missed the most is either Mickey Mouse Revue or that the animation movie from the past. So I love that everybody's been here sharing with us. Go ahead.
Could we count Great Movie Ride as a show in a way?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, that's a ride.
I didn't know if like the cast member and that whole part of it, the performance of that counted as.
I mean, I hate to drop the hammer,
No,
come on,
rides
but
in the
no,
title.
that's a ride. No, that's a ride. Sorry, hate to drop the hammer. It's fine.
Okay.
No, and you know what? Sometimes maybe there is a thin line between what's in a ride and what's an attraction. And Poseidens Fury, that again kind of spawned this whole conversation, kind of walks that line because you, as the audience, are moving through something. There's not a ride vehicle. But you're moving through something. You're going from room to room and having the experience. But it doesn't feel like you can qualify that as a ride. It does feel more like a show. And so I'm sorry to see that go because it's different. And Phenomenal Brandy and I have talked about like Dollywood. I love Dollywood. It is so quaint and beautiful and awesome. But there's only two speeds to Dollywood, really. Do you want to go watch a bunch of shows or do you want to ride a bunch of roller coasters? And that's kind of it. There's like some kiddie rides, but there's no dark rides for the whole family or, a Poseidens Fury. There is Blazing Fury, which, look it up, fantastic. But everything else is, I mean, that's a ride still. But, but Disney and Universal bring that to the table. They bring that mix of magic. They bring you've got the attractions, and the attraction could be a ride, it could be a walkthrough, it could be a show. It could be anything. And so, it's just part of what makes that theme park experience magical. I think a lot of people who are Knott's Berry Farm theme, like fans, will go, well, there's only 3 roller coasters here, and I'm going to ride them and leave, and they're missing out on what the coolest stuff is in some of these parks. So do yourself a favor, slow down, plan your day to take in a show or to support the entertainers. It's the highest caliber of entertainment in any of these parks that I've seen anywhere. It's just so awesome. Brandy dropped in chat, Blazing Fury for life. It's so awesome. Anyway, thank you guys for doing that. Let me do this real quick because we've run long, but I want to get final thoughts on the show stuff, and we'll start with Allie and work our way back up to Coach. Just final thoughts on your feelings for how you interact with them, what you think of them, what maybe the future is. Allie.
For the shows?
Yes.
Or for the I'm excited for Rogers the Musical. I really haven't seen many of the shows at Disneyland, only because when I tend to be there, none of the shows are actually happening until later in the day. But I will make time for Rogers the Musical, and I will put some effort into seeing more shows other than just Festival of the Lion King, which I absolutely love.
Well, don't bother with your PhilharMagic because it stinks. All right, Emma?
It's okay. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine.
No, I think, honestly, that's what makes Disney and Universal so special, is having these incredible shows and entertainment that, allows you to slow down throughout your day and enjoy something rather than going from ride to ride to ride to ride to ride, which can be exhausting, especially if you're on a week or more vacation. And yeah, I think it's great. I hope that we bring Streetmosphere back and some other, a lot of other shows that we miss, like the Muppets thing, which I don't know if that's going to come back, but because, they said it was going to go away, but yeah.
Very cool. Annie?
This has just made me realize how many entertainment things have come and gone, which is good and bad. It is a good thing, though, that attractions, once you build a roller coaster, it really can't change that easily. Whereas entertainment things, they can frequently change that. Streetmosphere in general, I love it. I wish Disney had more. Universal's got a ton and keep bringing back more. I think it adds a lot of value to the park that when there's long lines for things, it's kind of a break. It's nice. I have a lot of nice things to say about shows, even if I'm not a show person. But yes, that's my thought. Is it's good to see some change. R.I.P. Poseidon. That's what I got.
R.I.P. indeed. And finally, Coach.
Yeah, I think it gives you the option. Shows give you the option to hit a wide audience, right? Sometimes it's a thrill ride, sometimes it's a kiddie ride, sometimes it's somewhere in between. It's a dark ride. But Rob, you alluded to it, right? Something the whole family can experience. Sometimes it's a show like Belle. Sometimes it's Frozen that has a lot of adult humor that the kids don't pick up on in a very Shrek-esque type of manner. These types of things have a lot of value, right? They have a lot of value for maybe guests that have mobility issues, guests that have issues that, that don't necessarily know the difference, or maybe don't ride on roller coasters, right? This gives them something to do. You have to keep in mind when you're going with families, a lot of times you have grandparents and older, guardians and stuff that take people to rides that can't ride things or don't want to. And this is an option that gives them, the shows really give you an option to have everybody experience that, as opposed to them just not going on rides and just sitting there waiting for it to end and everything else. So I think there's some options there, even when the, littles that can't ride stuff, that, a lot of times just kind of have to stand there and watch their older sibling ride a ride during a rider switch. A lot of times you can take, my wife and I a lot of times would take our young daughter and say, hey, you go watch that show. I'll take the crazy coaster kid on the coaster. And it creates a better experience for everybody and eats people. And it's a win for everybody, right? And I'm always going to support entertainment cast members, because that's the difference, right? The cast members are the difference. And this is just another example.
I feel like I've heard that expression somewhere, and I'm drawing a blank where I may have heard that before. Yeah, somewhere.
Weird.
Yeah, it's crazy. Okay. So basically, the other thing that I meant to throw out there, which I didn't, and the nighttime stuff I omitted because I think we could get into a war, and maybe that's another conversation to have sometime about the nighttime stuff. The history of the nighttime stuff. And Arlo has I think 18 PowerPoints about it, and has written 18 documentaries about the nighttime shows and all that stuff. So I think nighttime shows and parades, we could certainly talk about it another time, but I think tonight was all about kind of the regular shows and things that happen. But the one, Annie, that I didn't mention was the Sinbad stunt show at Universal, which I thought was cool. And they used it at that building as a cool down station, I think, when COVID first happened. So, clearly that's not coming back anytime soon. But Born Stuntacular is a very good replacement for that. So if you have not seen that, go see it. It is open, despite what rumors Allie is trying to spread out there. So thank you again so much to the panel for being here. Thank you guys at home always for watching, for supporting ParksCenter. Tell a friend, give us a like. We have so much fun doing this every Sunday night that it is just, it is my favorite part of the week, is to be here with these fine folks talking about theme parks. Nothing could be happier. So thank you guys again for everything. If you are a WIGS member, and we love our WIGS, the WDWNT Interglobe Society, thank you guys for being part of our Patreon program and part of our family. I honestly feel like you guys are part of our family. And so thank you for being members. If you want to find out more about the program, you go to patreon.com/WDWNT. But for those of you, we're going to have a quick post show afterwards until our panel here gives out, because we've already, again, as per usual, gone through extra innings here, to which I think...
I don't like this!
Yeah, because I do try to keep pretty close to time. So thank you guys. Appreciate you, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great week.
Hi, everybody.
I felt like I had to do that.